Today I'm going to unbox, configure and test a couple of these third reality motion sensors and show you how I use them in combination with a solar garden light to add some cool features to my smart home. Hello, I'm Blake, professional innovator and designer in pursuit of the invisible smart home.
Water leak alert.
Before I get to configuring and testing this motion sensor, I wanted to show you the problem I'm trying to solve. So the main access to my home is through this gate here, and I have contact sensors on it. In fact, I have 3 of them. That's kind of a backup, and of course I'm testing different solutions. But when somebody opens this gate, I get a notification, and I'll show you that in a minute, or how it works. But I don't know if somebody's coming into the property or leaving the property. I'd like to know that. I also don't know if somebody comes up to the front of the gate and doesn't come in, as in a courier leaves a package or something and drops it over the gate. So I'm going to show you a cool solution to that once I get this all together. So right now when my gate opens, I get a notification, which is fine, and I can turn that off and on with schedules so I don't get bothered when I don't need to. But also for other users in the home, I've just picked a light that we hardly ever use, or really never use, and I have it come off and on when the gate opens. So that's a simple notification. I just wanted to make a few comments on how this project and most of the projects in my home relate to the pursuit of the invisible smart home. So my current gate notification solution is pretty good, but I'm trying to improve it so it's more invisible. And what makes a smart home invisible? And I've kind of come up with a statement that seems to work out pretty well. A device or solution that you don't notice until it's meant to be noticed, and when you do notice it, it's a good thing. That's what an invisible smart home. That's kind of the test I've been using. So my current gate lock is not really invisible because when you're supposed to notice it, it's when I get notifications. So on my phone, or I have a light that blinks in the dining room. So that's good for when people come in the gate. I want that to happen, and I notice it, and it's a good thing that I notice it because I'm at my desk, the gate opens, I get a notification, or if I'm in the other room, the light blinks, or my wife gets a notification, and we know that somebody's coming into the yard. A neighbor, a courier, whatever. Maybe we're expecting somebody. So it's good. We just stand up and look, okay, you know, somebody's there. But what's not good, or what shouldn't be noticed, I still notice when I'm sitting there, my wife just left, and she said she's leaving. I know she's gone out the front gate. So that's kind of a redundant notification. I don't need that. So what I'm pursuing with this change is so that I only get notifications when I want notifications. All right, let's open this thing up and check it out. The sensor itself includes the batteries. See if I'm getting this thing open. Comes with some screws, and there it is. Alright, let's get it paired to SmartThings. Alright, let's put the batteries in, and it should just go into pairing mode, and then I'll go into SmartThings and see about adding a device. Okay, I'm not sure if you can see it, but it's blinking blue, which I think means it's in pairing. Oh, now it's blinking red. Now it's blinking blue. Alright, so I think that's in pairing mode. This is a Zigbee device. So let's go into SmartThings, Devices, Add Device. And I'm first going to check to see if it's in the list by brand. Third Reality. Alright, the only one it has in there is the dimmer, so let's go back and just do a general scan. Scan for nearby devices, let's try that. If it doesn't work in a minute, I'll push this button. Put it into pairing mode maybe. Oh no, found it. There it is. Alright, let's rename it. Put it in the right room. Okay, there it is. Let's just edit it and put it in the right room. Save. Alright, no motion. Let's turn it over. Motion detected. Okay, so it's working. Alright, so let's get to the application. So what I plan to do is I'm going to put this out on the walkway before the gate, and I'm going to mount this motion sensor underneath it. So this is really just to disguise and a way to mount the motion sensor in an ideal position. And at about this height, maybe 6 or 8 inches off the ground, close to the walkway, it's not going to be picking up a lot of false triggers. You're going to basically have to walk by this thing within a foot or so. And it's nice that this tilts a little bit so it can let me position this just so that it picks up somebody walking by, but doesn't pick up, you know, branches or shadows blowing in the wind. But let me just show you the automation that I plan to add that's going to give me what I'm looking for, which is I want to know when somebody, the difference between somebody arriving at the gate or somebody leaving the gate. So in SmartThings, and I presume in other smart apps and hubs and so on, SmartThings has this thing called a precondition. So I set the motion as a precondition. So the motion is motion sensor, motion detected, use as precondition. So it's not going to complete the rest of this automation until there's motion. So when there's motion, it looks for this as kind of like an and statement. There's motion and then the gate opens, then it's going to send me a notification. And I'm going to add a second similar routine that turns on a light, it turns on my security lights or something. So that's a very simple, easy way to set this up. So now when somebody comes to the gate, I'll get an alert and I can turn on security lights. But when somebody leaves the house and goes out the gate, I don't have to have anything. So a few more tips before I actually install this thing. I'll just show you what I might do on a typical installation. So I hardly ever use the tape that comes with these devices because I just find it doesn't come off that easy. It does do a pretty good job of sticking it there, but if you want to move it or change it, that's not great. I use this double-sided gel tape. I'll just cut a couple small pieces. As an example here, I put a couple small pieces on the back, and I just tear off. Just on here. I don't think in this case it matters if it's this way or this way. And in some cases I might mark it or paint it with a marker to camouflage it a bit, depending where it's mounted against something black, or even if it's not, at night it's always better to have stuff that's black. Now again, as with cameras that I've tested in the past, this is not an outdoor device. So I'm taking a bit of a risk, but I think with this thing outdoors mounted under here, I'm in pretty good shape. So I might wrap it in silicone tape to seal it up a bit, and let's just try that here. And just to give you an idea how the silicone tape works. Touch it a little bit, and this is going to cover the seams that might cause a leak. And at least that's the idea. So let's see if I can get this wrapped up. I probably didn't cut this piece long enough. I'll just force it so you get the idea. And then it sticks to itself, but it's not sticky otherwise. See that? Alright, so that would kind of waterproof that. So I'll probably trim these little edges off here, and then we'll just have this, it'll be a little bit more camouflaged, and it'll be a little bit more waterproof. So I've mounted it on here, and the bottom is white. You won't see that when it's in the ground. And that's kind of camouflaged, and this adds the bit of waterproofness because it's covering the edges. And this will be at a nice height that, and when somebody walks by, it'll pick them up, but it won't be picking up other false triggers. So there you go. That's what it looks like. All right, so I have my two motion sensors out here now, kind of disguised under these solar lights. The solar lights kind of give a bonus too, where they will give extra lighting for my camera when eventually I've got it working, certainly with this triggers I'm hoping. so that it triggers when somebody comes to the gate, but it doesn't trigger when somebody comes out of the gate. Just going to grab the gate. I should get a notification here. Someone has arrived. There, so there you go. And when I walk out, I don't get any notification. The idea for having two, I guess, is just for a bit of, I guess, redundancy, so that if like an animal walks by this one here closer to the gate, so it really has to be somebody that comes to that, passes that one, then passes this one. So I'm going to use what I call yellow alert for people approaching the gate but not entering. Orange alert for people that approach the gate and enter. And then I'll reserve red alert for times when I'm away and it's late and somebody enters the gate or maybe even approaches the gate, you know, 2 o'clock in the morning or something. Alright, so in conclusion, with a small expense, with a couple motion sensors and a couple solar lights that are really acting as a convenient mount, and they add some lighting to my yard as well, I now have a very cool activities sensors or presence sensors by my front gate. I know when somebody's coming to the gate and opens the gate. I know when somebody opens the gate to depart from the home. I know when somebody shows up at the gate and doesn't open the gate, like a courier might be to drop something off. Eventually I actually want to add sensors so that when somebody pulls on the gate when it's locked, I get a notification about that as well. That would be separate. And we'd probably integrate that into our new gate lock design that we're in the middle of working on. Please like and subscribe, and look for my next video. Cheers!